again, you always feel like you're a big fish until all of a sudden you go out into the ocean and you're like, holy smokes, we are nothing. The way that money's coming in is by helping your customer have success. You should be able to have a product that you can sell and that the sale of that product funds enough of your growth.
Welcome back to another episode of the Dan Lok Show. And if you are listening in, you know that every single time I bring you a special guest. And today I have a very, very, very special guest. Now, if you don't know ClickFunnels, I don't know where the hell have you been, right? I am a big fan of ClickFunnels. I have been a user since the beginning. I've made a lot of money through ClickFunnels. And I'm a supporter of ClickFunnels, right? I wear the ClickFunnels t-shirt, so I like today. But you know, a lot of people, I think they have seen, of course, Russell, what he's built. But today I'm bringing a special guest that he might not be seeking the spotlight too much, but he's the one that actually is behind the scenes, just making stuff happen, working with the visionary, because the visionary and the integrator, right? Me as a visionary, sometimes the integrator doesn't get enough credit. The CEO of ClickFunnels, Dave, welcome to the show.
I'm excited to be here, Dan. Thanks so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
So Dave, walk us through now ClickFunnels, of course, for my audience, in case they don't know what ClickFunnels is and what does it do. Just give us maybe a 1-minute Reader's Digest version. Who is it for and what exactly does the SaaS do?
Sure. So as you mentioned, ClickFunnels is a SaaS product. So it's a software as a solution or software as a service. And basically, if you're trying to generate a lead online or if you're trying to sell anything online, ClickFunnels is for you. It builds out your online sales funnel and then has all the marketing automation tools on the back end to help make sure you actually can close all the deals that you set up.
And when did you meet with the first get started with Todd and also Russell?
Oh man, I met Russell back in 2008 and Todd in about 2013 or so, about a year before we started ClickFunnels.
Yes. And then what was it like in the beginning? Was it like, hey, guys, let's build something together? What was that relationship like?
Sure. So for Todd and Russell really are the two co-founders. Russell, the marketing genius founder behind it, Todd, the development genius. And the two of them really, it was the tech genius. So it was the two of them that really came together to create ClickFunnels. It was their brainchild. I came in right after we got things going and really worked in the beginning more on the revenue side. My whole experience has always been in growing and scaling and building businesses, and had the opportunity from the very beginning to really focus on the growth side. And then over the last few years, I've moved into help really scale and grow the actual business as we've gone up over north of 100 million now.
Yes. And in the beginning, did you recognize that, oh my goodness, this would be a huge opportunity? Like, did you ever envision that, oh my goodness, would be like this big? What was that? Well, was it like, hey, it would be a cool project just to work with like two cool founders?
Yeah, I had done quite a few different projects with Russell prior to that. Some made it, some didn't. We did a lot more of the information products in different verticals and niches that, again, had a lot of fun. But really, ClickFunnels was built with the intent of solving our own problem. It was a product we created more for ourselves. Basically, Todd got sick and tired of redesigning and redeveloping new funnels all the time for Russell and said, Russell, there's got to be a way that we can actually create a tool that you can go in and you can do the work. And that's really kind of the genesis behind it. Todd lives in Atlanta. He was flying from Atlanta to Boise on his flight, basically is where he found out that Lead Pages had just received their first $5 million round of funding, landed in Boise, totally upset, going, my gosh, I could create this in my sleep. And
like that, and
he
did
like that,
and he did.
That's exactly right. And Russell was like, if we're going to do that, there's a whole bunch more that I want than just a lead page. And that's really was the genesis behind the creating of ClickFunnels back in 2014.
Nice. What's it like in the beginning working with Russell? Because I think Russell has also grown and evolved over the last few years, right? From I would say a marketer, info marketer to now CEO of a SaaS company, right? What's it like you with being the right hand, the man behind the man, working with Russell? Share with us the good part and also the challenging part.
The good part for me, I don't have really much of an ego at all. And so it's not an ego-driven thing.
Yes.
For me, really the good part is I'm super passionate about building and really scaling bootstrap businesses. And so that's the good and the bad. A lot of times people are like, gosh, you know what, you can go out and you can raise money, you can scale a lot faster. And so the good part for me was I love the energy, the excitement of a startup. I know you've had quite a few different startups yourself, and there's just a bunch of passion and excitement
More
surrounding.
Yeah,
it's that whole entrepreneurial journey, which I loved. I think the bad part is there's so many mistakes that you make along the path that you've got to stay focused on growth and you have to stay focused on speed. I think the hard part is a lot of, as you start bringing on employees, they're not as accustomed to going at the pace that you're going at. They're not accustomed to the amount of change that happens all the time. True. And so some of the struggles was really scaling a business with employees to help. They were super passionate about what we were doing, about serving our audience and really providing the tools and resources. But with that, there comes a lot of hiccups and a lot of things you think are going to happen and they don't happen the way you want them to. And employees are like, well, I thought that was going to happen and we were going to be here. And like, well, we want it to be, but we're not yet. And so we had a lot of hiccups in the very beginning to get things going the first little bit. And then when it started to really take off, that was the part where people understood the vision, but most importantly, realized that what was promised actually was taking place.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Because sometimes when I work with my integrator, we have like an inside joke within a company. Like I drop bombs and they catch it. It's like, because as a visionary, I'm sure it's the same in the ClickFunnels office, right? Hey, I got an idea. Yeah, from last night, right? We can do this and we can do this and we can do this, right? we actually have like a fluffy toy in the office, like a bomb. So in the meeting, we throw it around like this, right? So what was that like? Because you have to be the ones that actually takes the vision and organize it and execute it and work with like budget and bandwidth and people actually to make it happen, actually get it done, right? So how do you do that?
I think the exciting part of really being that integration piece is to realize that there has to be a ton of flexibility and realizing that flexibility was the most important part for us and for myself. I was at the time living in San Diego. I was flying up to Boise every other week. And I think one of the biggest things for us that really helped was proximity. Huge believer in proximity is power. And especially from an integration standpoint, there's a lot of ideas and thoughts that are going on that aren't conveyed as well through Zoom or other areas. And we didn't even have Zoom back then. But I mean, I think the opportunity, especially in that startup phase, was proximity. And that is what allowed us to really bounce off things much quicker. And again, as far as the numbers go, we've always looked at ClickFunnels as a whole bunch of break-even funnels. And so as a bootstrapped company, all we were trying to do was, if we could build funnels in the front end that our cost to acquire a customer was less than or equal to whatever our average cart value was, we at least knew we were getting our customers for free. And so we were throwing a ton of Hail Marys at the beginning, hoping something was going to land. And for us, the one thing that really landed was webinars. And that's really what helped us to scale. So Dan, I think catching those bombs, the fortunate side for us is, yes, Russell is a huge visionary, but he was also willing to get his hands dirty and be right in there the whole time.
Yes, roll the sleeves and he can teach,
Absolutely.
He can present, he can create content, making ads, right? Always very creative. I love watching the ClickFunnels YouTube channel because sometimes you guys will show in the office, right? What you're working on behind the scenes. There's one particular episode that I love the most. It's when you and Russell went to the Salesforce office.
Yes.
That episode, because it shows, I think it's you and Russell, the relationship traveling together, but seeing like, wow, what ClickFunnels could be, right? That was a very well done video. Not just well done video, but it's very, very touching for me. It just burns in my mind, the episode. I've watched it multiple times. And the excitement, and you can see it's like Russell in a like a kid in a candy store. It's like, wow, we could do this. Like this is what we could become. So what was that experience like going there, actually, from your perspective?
Absolutely mind-blowing. I had the opportunity of going the year before we actually shot that one. And so I went out there the first year and was just floored. Again, you always feel like you're a big fish until all of a sudden you go out into the ocean and you're like, holy smokes, we are nothing. You know, I think at that point, we just done an event with, 3,500 people, and in San Francisco, the entire city is shut down. There's 70,000 people have flown in just for that one event. Yeah. And I remember talking to Russell about it, saying, Russell, you have to be here to be able to experience this. And as he came back that next year, we had the opportunity of having Todd and myself and Russell and a couple other partners there. And I think the main thing is the ability to actually experience someone who is built where you're wanting to go. Yes. And to be able to feel the energy, the excitement, because that's where all of a sudden this vision you have in the back of your mind, you can now anchor it on what someone's actually done. Yeah. And so as we sat there and looked and attended Mark Benioff's keynotes and hearing and understanding and speaking to the people and going up and down the Salesforce tower and going through the city and literally seeing Salesforce on 4 different buildings, all on and within one corner. And I was like, it's amazing to think that you could really scale a business from where he was. He had, huge shout out to Mark Benioff. My gosh, the guy basically had to create the whole SaaS environment, this idea of living in the cloud. Yeah. And for us being there, Dan, it was the opportunity to see what another visionary had saw, basically they saw, and then actually had that come to fruition. And then us on a smaller scale thinking, we may not be there yet, but there's a path on how we can get there. And there's a path on how we can go. We actually ended up buying the book Beyond the Cloud, written by Mark Benioff. Yes. And it was kind of their playbook. And so we've actually implemented a lot of those steps. And I think it's been fun for me to watch you and your business and the way you've scaled and the way that you're an amazing, you model people who have had success, and exactly, just follow the breadcrumbs and you'll get there. And it's, we've tried to do the exact same thing.
And I have to say, like, even Funnel Hacking Live, which is ClickFunnels event, right, every year. I remember the first time I went there, it was the Vegas one.
Our very first one.
Yeah, the first one. So, and I saw Russell presented, and at the time, ClickFunnels was still quite new, right? I think Russell was still trying to figure it out what it looks like, but it's taking shape. And then seeing the event gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year, right? Now, the last one was just like massive, right? Took over the hotel, right? That's it, like branded everywhere. But I remember going there and I forgot which event. I saw the first, the $1 Million Award, right? The 2 Comma Club. And I saw that, said to myself, at the time, I was just started using ClickFunnels, right? It's like, okay, that's the vision. I'm gonna get that. And then I saw it, and I got it like 2-3 months, and then it's the one behind you, right? The $10 million award, and I'm like, okay, I want to get that too. And then we got it in 1 year with one of the funnels. And the power of going to an event like that I don't care if they're beginners, or someone who's been around a long time, someone who's been doing marketing for a long time, you cannot help but be inspired. Because you would see the people, it's not the same when you're not there. You can watch some videos, it's not the same. Because you would see the people when they accept the awards. Something that clicked into my mind, I hope that clicks for my audience as well, it's like, I could do that. Maybe I could do that. It's like the possibility. And I'm sure the same thing when you and Russell went to just the Salesforce headquarters, seeing all these other SaaS companies, like, wow, like this is such an amazing experience, right? And in terms of Funnel Hacking Live, I'm curious now with the whole COVID-19, what pivots have you guys done to create that and still maintaining that? What's the plan forward, and what are you doing now to pivot in terms of?
Oh, that's events? A great question. First of all, to your credit, it was always fun having you there and being a roundtable guest speaker and having you at our events, because I think what you said there is so critical, and that is there's a feeling that you get at a live event that you can't, even through virtual. It's nice, but it's not the same. And I think just as human beings, we relate so much better on when you can press the flesh and talk to people, and you involve so many different senses, and that's really some of the main things we've been trying to do is at Funnel Hacking Live. It's an emotional experience. It's much more like a rock concert. It's much more like an ability to actually see the success path of others. And so for this upcoming one, so it's September 20th 1st through the 26th in Orlando area. And this will be the very first time we've ever done a virtual event along with it. And so we actually, our tickets are $9.97. You can go to funnelhackinglive.com and see it. But it's the exact same cost, whether you're live or if you're virtual. And that was one of the main things, Dan, we went back and forth on as far as having a lower cost or the same cost. We stuck at the same cost because we were really doing a ton of things behind the scenes to make sure that we're bringing people in, even though they're virtual, to provide that same type of experience. And so we have quite a few things. Sage is the company we've worked with for years to help us with this, to really make sure that the experience, even though you might be at home, will actually be very similar. The irony to it, again, assuming we have 3 different ballrooms, but if we can get everybody in one ballroom, the most I think it holds is like 3,800 people. Last 2020, we had almost 5,000 people there. I think the main thing, Dan, really is, as I take a look at people who are buying tickets, we are about 3 to 1 on live versus virtual.
Interesting.
Which goes back to some things we talked. I think people right now, they want to experience things. And they're dying to actually be there face to face, to speak to people, to shake their hand if possible, or whatever it might be. And I think that's really the main thing we're trying to do, is provide that type of an experience again.
And just the way that ClickFunnels run the events, how you guys run the events, the culture of it. Because, I've been to some events where sometimes you want to talk to other people. They're like a little bit, I don't want to talk to you, right? Like I'm not, but ClickFunnels, I find that people are very open to share, right? Like I meet all kinds of funnel hackers, right? And then we hang out, we go to dinner. It's just a different vibe. It's a very casual vibe. Hey, and sometimes, hey, I saw your video. Like it's very different. It's a business conference, but it doesn't feel like a business conference, right? It's kind of like a rock concert. You have fun, you have light. It's interesting. Like I see people hanging out in the hallway like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Like they don't sleep.
You're right.
It's like, what is going on here, right? But it's actually very, very powerful to see, and people connect, and all kinds of JV deals. You can meet with people. It's really, really powerful. Like that's why we do it multiple times. Always happy to support the event, and it's interesting to see how you do the virtual and now with the live. Do you think that are you thinking of continuing doing this way, kind of like a hybrid, or in the future maybe just, hey, you know what, let's do live and forget the virtual? Like, what are your thoughts?
Our plan is to go, if we can go live only, we will go live only. And I think part of it is, Dan, how often do people we're grateful to have someone like yourself mingling, because you give of yourself so much. I've seen so many people, you basically have this posse just following you around at Funnel Hacking Live because Dan, you're so willing to share. And I think we've tried to establish that from a culture standpoint, but it's because of people like you, Dan, who literally are willing to open up. And you don't, to try to get your time, people pay you literally tens of thousands of dollars for just minutes of your time. And yet you come to an event like that and you're willing to talk to anybody about anything at all. And that's a cultural thing that we've tried to instill.
Yes. And people come up to us, like it's very nice. They're all super nice. And it's like, hey, Dan, I watched a video. I'm a fan. Like it's like, and it's always, I guess, seeing the other entrepreneur where they are getting started. Like it reminds me, hey, when I was getting started, I was in the same shoes. It's no different, right? Just because I have more followers, I'm the same guys. It makes no difference, right? Dave, I'm also curious. Let's talk about like growing a SaaS company, right? From ClickFunnels, from 0 to 100 million in like with bootstrapping, no outside capital. That's very unheard of in the SaaS world. Right, it's very, very unheard of. So, what is the secret? Like, give me something that what do you guys do that's so different that you could scale that quickly without outside capital?
It's a great question. You actually mentioned as far as bootstrapped. I think most likely if we can get it done at Funnel Hacking Live, we're going to introduce a new award, which will be our Bootstrapped Awards.
Oh, I love that.
And so it'll be based on different industries and things. My only reason in saying that is, whether you're a SaaS company or any other business, a business like your own, there's a lot of people who are inclined these days to take on money as soon as possible. From a bootstrap standpoint, we've always taken the the approach that you should be able to have a product that you can sell, and that the sale of that product funds enough of your growth. And we get, again, you're in the same situation I am, where you're getting calls from private equity, growth equity people all the time, trying to invest in your company.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it was kind of a joke. We'd always say, no. Yeah. And I look now at some of our competitors and other friends who have taken on capital. Yeah. We're still at the point we haven't. Yeah. But I think the main thing behind it as a bootstrapped company is you don't have a true product or service until a person actually pays you for it. And I run across people all the time who will present, oh, here's my business plan and here's what I want. And they have this Shark Tank approach of, I'm just looking for someone to invest in it. And I personally believe that until you've invested yourself into your own business and you've gone out there and you learn so much by having to sell your product and your service and actually get money, and to take a whole bunch of no's, to then resolve those concerns, to fix the product to where now all of a sudden it's like, okay, the product actually is good enough for people to take out their credit card. And with a SaaS company, we're on a month-to-month basis. So if we don't provide the service, we literally are reselling our customers every single month. Yeah. And I think that's a critical part of any business. And again, we look at customer success, and to bootstrap anything, you have to be able to provide a product and a service that solves a problem for a customer.
So basically aim for more a customer-funded model, at least to begin with.
Absolutely.
Product market fit, get it going. Just more money, more capital. If it doesn't solve the problem, if the product's not good, right? If you have people quitting left and center, it doesn't work that way. No, that makes a lot of sense. But also I could see that, I think with ClickFunnels, because of Russell being a marketing genius, that most SaaS companies are quite boring, right? It's like I'm selling my features and this thing and this. It's all the like tech lingual, but versus Russell, he's so good at simplifying and making it like. Because think about back then, I remember people don't even understand what funnel is.
No.
It's like, is it a website? Is it an opt-in page? What is this funnel thing? So to be able to go into the marketplace and say, hey, we're going to create a category. We're going to educate the marketplace, educate them what it's a funnel, why you need one. But that's a tall order, right? That's not easy to do. And he's done it and making it interesting, right? Making it very interesting. So for someone, let's say a business owner, SaaS or not, how has ClickFunnels, from your perspective, uses, let's say, education, uses information or training to enhance the actual product, the core product, which is the software? Like that, I think I find that very, very fascinating.
It's a great question, Dan. I can tell you, I was actually talking to a private equity company a while back about that same thing, because their question was, again, we get asked all the time, what's your cost to acquire a customer? So for us, it's about $140 to $160.
Yes.
Well, that's to get a trial, and we're only converting those trials about 40% to paid. Yes. So you got a free trial plus a credit card. So in essence, you have to come up with about $300 to actually get a customer. Well, at a $97 a month thing, that's a 3-month return on CAC.
Yeah.
And
which isn't too bad. Like it's not like it's bad. No. Like it's normal. It's quite normal. Yeah.
In fact, they were like, oh my gosh, you get a return on CAC in 3 months. Yeah. How much can we give you? And I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. And I think that what you said is really the critical part whenever you're looking at a SaaS company or recurring product, and that is the education. What happened was we actually sold the education and then gave the software away for free.
Yes.
So our webinar is how we ended up selling ClickFunnels. It's $1,000, and so by having $1,000 ticket price in essence, we had a $97 price point. That's 10 months up front, but then we got them onto monthly recurring, which was huge for us. So the main thing I always look at is how can you educate your customer, provide that training, but most importantly, then we had what was known as Funnel Fridays, and and we still to this day do, and that is where we actually teach our customers how to consume the product. Yeah. The consumption of the product is the most critical part for the scale and growth long term. Your customers have to be using your product, and the best way to do that is provide training up front, get them a win, get them success, and then teach them on a weekly basis how to consume it. Again, I take a look at your YouTube channel, Dan, and your content is amazing, and people flock to you because of the education that you provide. Because what again, I look at it and go, if I'm getting that kind of value from Dan for free, what more value can I get if I pay him? And that's the same thing that we've used to really scale and grow a business.
Yeah, and Russell has written behind you, right, the Traffic Secrets book, .com Secrets, Expert Secrets, which I have bought, I don't know, 5 sets in my office, right? Right. So it is very unique because, I mean, how many SaaS founders would write a book to teach certain concepts to the marketplace, right? And to educate them. Doesn't matter if they use ClickFunnels or not. It's just to educate the marketplace. But of course, after you read the book, you're gonna use ClickFunnels. Let's just face it, right? It's a very powerful lead generation tool. And I think there's something now in the marketplace where I see the SaaS world. It's interesting. You see let's say the marketing world, right? Where we came from, the direct response, info marketing, and then you have the SaaS world. I think in between when they collide, you've got something like ClickFunnels, where the SaaS world is like, I don't understand what you guys do, like coaching. Like you think you're selling a software. Why do you need an event? I don't understand. Why do you need books? Like what? Like it doesn't even make sense. Now the marketing guys is like, I'm not a tech guy. I'm not going to build a software. But when you kind of marry the two, suddenly you have something exactly like ClickFunnels, where you have an amazing SaaS provides a lot of value, and people stick within the community. Like it's truly amazing. I don't think I've seen many companies that could do this.
You're right. Fortunately, we were fortunate to kind of start a lot of that. If you look at Jack Conte and what he's done with Patreon.
Oh yes.
Very similar type of thing where he was passionate about that whole creator type mode, and now again it's worth $4 billion or something.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to that whole idea of what you've done such a great job of, Dan, and that is the education is critical. And publishing on a regular basis is one of the best ways of being able to build any SaaS company. Especially if you take a look at tech today, you can duplicate another SaaS company super, super quick. And if you're trying to sell on features and benefits, you will always lose. And if you're competing on price, again, you're basically, it's a race to the bottom. So for us, the whole idea behind it as a SaaS company is to be able to provide so much education, so much value that, yes, you're right, Dan, you could use that content on a different platform. But what you're going to miss is the additional education to continue to help grow and to scale and to build your business, which is the only reason why you're going to end up using ClickFunnels or a platform like ours.
Yes. And even someone, let's say someone comes along, and I know there are a couple competitors, I won't name names, right? Try to copy ClickFunnels or, well, a lower price, no credit card, no commitment. You know what I'm talking about, right? When I look at that, I'm like, looking at the competitor, I'm like, you guys don't get it. You guys don't get the magic. You think it's the features. In fact, I think they did it completely wrong. They add more stuff to the thing. You think ClickFunnels has these features, we have all these features, man. I'm like, it's clearly from someone you don't know SaaS, because any one of those features, it's a major thing to develop.
Absolutely.
And you say you're gonna do all this and no recurring? Are you nuts? Like, it's like, I don't even want to bother talking about that. But with ClickFunnels, one thing I love that the education, it's not static. It is not that Russell creates something, here's all the content in a members area, good luck. No, like I'm prolific. Russell is even more prolific. Here's a new course. Hey, we're testing this funnel. Here's a tripwire funnel. Here's a lead funnel. What about this? What about that? Hey, can we create something around it? Can we add on coaching to that, right? Actually, talk to us about the coaching. I love the Two Comma Club, like that initiative, how that has helped ClickFunnels.
Sure, more than happy to. So I think what you made mention there real quick is critical, and that is Russell is huge at producing a ton of content, but it's also why he also is the #1 consumer of our own product. I mean, he's building funnels because that's his passion. Nothing makes him happier than building funnels. And because of that, he's able to take all that stuff that he continues to learn and has now provided that content in a very organized format, which is now what's known as our Two Comma Club coaching program. And the idea behind it is, again, it's a monthly recurring type of a coaching program. There's 3 different levels to it. So the very first one is Ignite. And the whole idea there is to get your funnel up and running. And the idea behind it is just to start making money. The next thing is, so the second part is our nail it portion. So now all of a sudden you start making money. How do we then get you from making money to where you can be making at least 100,000?
Yes.
And from that, we now get to nail it. Once you're in that nail it range, about 100 to 200,000, then the next part is how do you scale it? And now so it's, first of all, Ignite is all about the foundational principles that you need to get your business up and running, get it launched. Nail it now starts teaching you how do you drive traffic to you so you can start growing the business. But then to scale it from 100,000 to $1 million, because that's the whole idea, is how do we get a person to get their first $1 million through a sales funnel? And the scaling then brings in not only just the product and traffic, but then also how do you really scale it? Who do you have to bring in? How do you build a team around yourself? How do you scale a true business? And I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people struggle with. Is it's one thing just to have a product. A product is not the same as a business.
No.
And if you want to create a business, you have to be able to have all the foundational principles around it to really scale your product.
Yeah. The metaphor I like to use is like you could give them a Ferrari, right? Like ClickFunnels. It's a great car, great engine, but you got to have the driving skill to drive it. How do you drive it and exactly where you want to go? Because it's very diversified. Maybe you want to use it to generate leads for your service business, maybe your coaching business, maybe an e-com business, right? So it doesn't matter what business you're in, but how you use it. I think that part of it, I could see ClickFunnels just invest a tremendous amount of time, like creating it. It's always new things. I love it. Like I'm like I joke with Russell. Russell, you're my credit card. Just bill me. Whatever you have, just bill it and then send it to me, man. I don't seriously. I buy everything, right? I'm like, might as well. It makes no difference, right? And even if they are just signing up for the the one funnel challenge. I want to talk about that, right? Talk to me about that funnel, if just for our audience.
So the One Funnel Away Challenge, it's $100, and what you get is 30 days worth of coaching. And the whole idea is for you to launch your first funnel in the next 30 days. The great part about it is Russell went in and we rebuilt this at the beginning of this year, where he literally coaches every single day for 30 days. Wow. And there's mindset things at the beginning that you go through to make sure you've got the mental mindset to make it through the 30 days as any challenge. But then it's little bite-sized things. How do you create a one-pager that can give you a free, basically a lead magnet that you can then offer or sell? And how do you then scale that and get your first leads coming in? Now that you've got your leads, how do I actually convert that lead to a paid customer? All of that is covered in the 30 days of our One Funnel Away Challenge.
And you get a very nice box.
Yeah, it's all set up.
Yes.
And I can tell you, Dan, it's interesting when you start taking a look at other SaaS companies. We were talking about this idea as far as consumption.
Yes.
We've seen that the retention for those people who go through the One Funnel Away Challenge, well, first of all, they convert on the trial at about a 20 to 24% higher amount on the trial. So they've actually used the product. So the trial converts higher. But the main thing we see is the retention, and the stick rate on the retention is much higher, especially once we go on from month 4 through about month 12, where all of a sudden we're looking at 20 and 30% higher retention rates because they've had success. And that's really the whole key. Dana was, listen, if you got a product, a SaaS company, you got to make sure your customers use the product as fast as possible to get success, and then they stick.
And that's the most challenging thing, even with my software, right? I could see that if they joining doesn't mean they use it. Their whole
it's totally different.
It's a completely different thing. It's a completely they join. It doesn't matter they join, right? They gotta use it, and they gotta use it. If they get the first initial result, okay, it's better, right? If they keep using it, it's even better, right? And then after a certain amount of months, if you see, hey, maybe, and every SaaS company is different, but after maybe 3 months, 4 months, whatever, 6 months, whatever that period is, then you know, okay, now the retention is extremely high right now.
Exactly.
And it's awesome because ClickFunnels is built in such a way that there's a lot of pain to disconnect, right? Like
on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose. It's beautiful because now if I'm using it, it's bringing in a lot of revenue and leads, and it's kind of like, in some way, the engine of the marketing, right? It's like a CRM. How can I stop that, right? I joke with my team. I said, you guys understand, if worst case scenario for a company, they would stop paying their rent and they would not stop paying their software, right?
Absolutely right.
The light doesn't need to be on, the office doesn't need to be there, but man, I need my software to run the business, right? It's true, isn't it?
It is.
It is. It's a good business to be in. For our listeners, right? If like you were to give them advice, doesn't matter the business owners, right? With what you've done, what are some of the things you would share with them in terms of growing the business, also growing the team? I think the culture within ClickFunnels, like as a CEO, what are some of the things that you do to build culture, right? Very unique culture, so that the company would scale.
And I think the main thing I've noticed is your company will not grow any faster or deeper than the growth that your actual employees go through. And for us, it's when you take a look at that culture, we were really fortunate when we first started hiring. The majority of the people were actually our customers.
Yes.
And so they came on board and they felt the pain and everything else. At this point now, one of the main things we find as people come into the company is to make sure they understand that culture. And one of the things we've tried to make sure people, we have our weekly meetings, and we always end with this idea that what we do matters. And we will always have a customer success story and talk about that. So building that culture is to understand that yes, you have to make money as a business. Every business does, to keep the lights on, to invest in R&D and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But the bottom line is, at the end, the way that money's coming in is by helping your customer have success. And you have to understand that what you do, I don't care if you're in customer support, customer success, if you're on the development team, if you're taking out I don't care. Whatever your position is in the company, what you do matters. And that's something we've really tried to instill from a cultural standpoint, is that there's a pride and an excitement about their job, and that they realize that as we take a look at our mission is really to liberate and educate entrepreneurs, to help them serve whatever their mission is. Yes. And that liberation comes from, maybe it's helping them quit their job, or maybe it's helping them just pay rent next month, or whatever that liberation is. Yeah. And the other side, obviously, is the education. And so for our employees, we have the same type of thing. We have a lot of our people who work with us they're very entrepreneurial, and we're excited about that. And so we encourage them to actually build things on ClickFunnels, to have a side hustle, to do those types of things, so they understand and feel the pain that our customers might be experiencing.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
And that's what's really helped us build the culture we have internally.
How big is the ClickFunnels team now? Like last time I talked, like 100?
About 300 employees.
Oh, 300 people. My goodness, 300 people.
Yeah.
So as a CEO, what's your daily kind of routine is like? Like, how do you manage all these people now remote, in the office, building a new office? Like, what's your day-to-day like?
For us, we started off remote, and we basically followed the book Remote from the two guys of Basecamp.
Yes.
And so we built a very remote culture from the very beginning. So COVID actually wasn't a huge hiccup for us. But to answer your question, the majority of our time really right now is helping our employees understand the vision of where we're going, and to make sure that as they see, other competitors, or they see other things happening around them, that they don't lose focus, that we are just barely getting started. We're rolling out some brand new features and exciting things at Funnel Hacking Live.
I'm looking forward to it.
That will be complete game changers for everybody, not only at our company, but most importantly throughout the entire industry. As you mentioned earlier, one of the main things, we created this category, this whole funnel category. And now it's fast forward 7 years, we'll be 7 years old in September. So Funnel Hacking Live happens to be at our birthday, and we're going to be launching a brand new opportunity for people to really understand how they can then cross the chasm and really grow and scale their businesses.
And if the team mostly is remote, with you, how big is the executive team?
So there's six of us on the executive team.
Six, and you, I'm just for my audience, if they're growing. So, like, how do you lead the team in terms of you having me? Is it like, I just want to get a little tactical in terms of like how often you meet, how do you communicate? Because the complexity of communication when you have 300 people, I mean, it's a different thing, right?
I've been really fortunate. We've talked about this before, and that is the idea of really hiring A players. And our focus has been around, and again, I look at an A player as a person who can really take initiative, a person who can think outside the box. So for me, working with our executive team, we meet on a weekly basis. Two of my executive partners are actually here in the office with me. And so we have that opportunity. The others One's in the Seattle area, another one's out in Michigan.
Yeah.
And so for us, I'm not a real big meeting person. If we're gonna do a meeting, it's very tactical and very strategic. It's like, what are we trying to accomplish? And then they have the opportunity to go out and actually scale and implement those types of things. So it's that's kind of where we look at. This is the mission. This is where we're going. I'm a huge believer in the idea as far as return and report. I don't want to have to track down something. I expect you to come back to me with, this is what I found. This is what we're going to do. The other philosophy I kind of live by is this idea as far as a 6-inch putt. And what I'm expecting is, if you've got a problem, fine. I understand we all deal with problems. So find out what your problem is. Come to me with an idea of 2 or 3 different things. It's a 6-inch putt from, again, something I can just tap in a real quick yes or no. Or if not, something we would then explore. If one of those 3 isn't a good solution, we'll figure something else out together.
And in terms of running the business, of course, ClickFunnels would be a tool that we cannot live without. But what are some of the tools or tech that you guys use that you would say, like, you would hate to lose those? Like, you just use it every single day?
So Zendesk is what we use for all of our customer support and customer service.
Yeah,
so Zendesk is what we use there. Our BI team uses Tableau, and Tableau has been a huge. So we really rolled out a BI team, business intelligence, what BI stands for, about 18 months ago. And that was probably one of the best things we ever did. Prior to that, we spent a lot of time. It was throw enough stuff up on the wall and some of the stuff's going to stick. And so right now we're spending a ton of time understanding attribution. And so attribution.com is a software we're actually using to work on attribution. We're taking that, putting that into our BI, into Tableau, and really dissecting the data. We're trying to do much more data-driven decision-making.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, data-driven decision.
At this point. And I think the great part is, as the entrepreneur, you always have a gut feeling, and it's important that you take that gut feeling with a pulse on the market and the data, and then make those executive decisions. And that's how we look at it.
Yes, because sometimes a visionary would be, hey, let's knowing Russell, let's do this, let's click this, let's check that. But Russell, we've got something that's working here. That the data says it's working. Let's not monkey with this. Oh, really? Okay, you're right. It's a little bit like this, right? That's
Dan. To that point, real quick, I'll tell you one of the things we did about a year ago was, Russell, as you may mention, he has so much energy and so much vision that we actually created a Skunkworks team for him. And so he has a company inside of ClickFunnels called Marketing Secrets. He has 3 people on that team who report directly to him. And their whole job is to go 1,000,000 miles an hour, testing different offers, different products, different things. And they do all the testing. Once they have it done and it works, it's at that point they hand things off to our CMO, John Parks. And he then is in charge of marketing and scaling that. And so I think that was probably one of the biggest things for Russell, to be able to continue to have that excitement and that energy. The hard part about a company as it scales and grows is it can't move as fast as
it's
you're
like
used to in a
startup.
Like
a big ship, right? It's not like a speedboat.
And so he's got his little speedboat Marketing Secrets.
like a little Russell lab. It's like,
it's exactly what it is. And he's got a whole bunch of side projects that he's testing and working on, and become case studies for ClickFunnels. So we've been really blessed to have that.
This is more like a personal question from me. Like with Russell, because he knows marketing so well, like I have to envision, because I struggle with this, where to find someone, let's say a CMO, to take over the marketing role, it is like, especially for me, if it's my personal brand, it's like, how can I trust someone to market my personal brand? Like how do you guys overcome that? Like, even how does Russell overcome that?
We didn't. Especially when it comes to his personal brand. So a lot of it, unfortunately, we've been excited to really have him test a couple things. But he has final approval on his personal brand.
Got it. So he still has his hands on, he still wants to get
Absolutely.
Involved. But the CMO is helping, right?
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay, now I feel a lot better now. I feel a lot better now. I'm like, it is so tough.
Yeah.
It is so tough.
Especially, it's the Dan Locke show. Especially when it's Dan Locke. That's your name. It's Russell's
hard.
name.
It's hard.
And
it's hard. Yeah,
it is.
I have to say, because it's like we have. No, I would see a certain things we want it done in a certain way, and people don't get that. I'm like, no, that's not what we wanted. I wanted this, right? Well, it's kind of fine, but it's not fine, right? It's not fine.
I can tell you real quick. One of the things we were just talking about before I came on the podcast, and that is we actually are doing a remodel here at the office. And yes. The remodel is based around bringing in an in-house creative agency that allows Russell to do exactly what you just talked about, and that is to really help train the copywriters, to train the graphic designers, to train them in a way that he can start stepping further and further, become further removed, but know that they've been trained and taught in a way that they actually can do exactly what he would do or think like he would think. So we literally have gotten rid of everyone out of our office. It's just an executive office here, but we're remodeling it just to bring in a creative agency so that Russell can actually teach them one-on-one.
Yes, and I also want to address, there's the rumor of it, because I want to hear directly from you. People saying, "Oh, is Russell going to sell the business?" It was like a while ago, right?
Yeah.
So he's gonna sell the business. He's not going to be involved anymore. And then like, how did that rumor start? And what was with that story?
So the rumor got started when Russell was in Fiji with Tony Robbins.
Got it.
And we actually ended up filming a video.
Yes, I saw that video. Yes.
And that video was exact. That's it. So the intervention with Tony is where that happened. And it's been, 2 years at this point now.
Yes.
And one of the main things that, Tony advised him was you need to get out of doing the stuff that you don't like. And Russell does not like management. I mean, that's just not something he enjoys.
Yeah.
And that's really where I stepped in as CEO 2 years ago to help with that kind of thing. To answer your question though, as far as we talk to growth equity, private equity people on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And I am sure that we've always kind of joked around with the idea that give us $1 billion valuation, and at that point we'll start talking. Yes. But prior to $1 billion valuation, and even I think the main thing people ask is, well, would Russell still be there? As long as there's entrepreneurs out there for him to serve, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know that Russell told me that also he's planning to write a book in the future about this journey, right?
He is.
Yeah, so that would be his
Bootstrap
next book. Yeah, the Bootstrap book. He bought the Bootstrap domain name, didn't he? Something like that?
He did, yeah.
So I love that. That's the vision of, hey, this is something. It's almost, I feel like this is his piece of work is creating his legacy, and then it's like, hey, then in the next stage would be, let me share with you how I actually did this, right? It's no longer just funnels, but it's like how I actually build ClickFunnels, right?
Yep, and I think people understand what the whole purpose behind ClickFunnels is, to help entrepreneurs have success in their life. Russell, as all of us, have been blessed because some entrepreneur had enough courage to take the risk to go start a business. Yeah. And our whole philosophy is whatever we can do to help that entrepreneur have success, that's where we're going to be. And as long as it's a tech stack that we can provide, we'll always be doing that. And that's really our whole focus, is to do whatever we can to help those entrepreneurs have success.
I mean, I can speak from experience because I was attending some of the inner circle meetings and seeing Russell, not just the stage Russell, but like in person. He is absolutely like the soft size. He's like a big, teddy bear in some way, right? He is. He is very, very committed, just helping the people within his circle, other entrepreneurs, spending a lot of time thinking about things like that side of him, because I saw it, right, in person. I don't think people recognize. Sometimes they don't know how much it takes to create the content, how much it takes to write a book, and running the company and doing everything on top of that. I don't think people understand that. Actually, from your perspective, like what like, if you can just give my audience before we go, like a glimpse of what does it take, right, for someone like Russell or yourself to run a company this size?
I think one of the main things it takes is the right people around you. And I know that sounds like a trite answer, but really the only way it happens is you've got to have people who believe as passionately and as strong as you do about where you're going. There have been times where Russell will be doing an Instagram story and he's here at the office at midnight, and I'm like, if he's there, I want to be there. And so I get out of bed and I'll come back to the office just to be a part of it, because you believe so much in that vision and so much in the direction and where we're going. And I think that's really, it also, the other thing it takes is an amazing supportive spouse.
Oh, yes, yes.
Without a supportive spouse, a significant other, whatever it might be in your life, your success will be limited by the amount of support that you have around you.
Yeah, because being an entrepreneur is not a typical 9 to 5. Hey, weekends. It's not like that at all, right? It's not actually not. It's okay. Let's put it this way: entrepreneurship is not what you see on Instagram.
No, okay? No, it is not.
It's not the vacation, the boat, the car. No. It's pretty much a lot of time sitting behind a computer by yourself, late at night, working, pretty much, and then getting assaulted emotionally every day with problems.
Exactly right.
That's pretty. I think that's a pretty accurate description.
That's exactly what it is.
Right? It's nothing glamour. You see the fruit, you see the outcome, but man, it is not easy. It is not easy. Like, I mean, even myself, as the company gets bigger, I didn't have as much gray hair as I have today, right?
I had a full head of hair.
Oh yeah, there you go, right? No, so like the price of success. So Dave, thank you so much. For our audience, if they want to learn more about ClickFunnels, of course, go to clickfunnels.com. But what are some of the good like ways for them to get started? Would it be reading the book? Would it be going to One Funnel Away? Like, what's the best way for them to get started if they don't know anything about funnels?
I would say if they want to get started with funnels, the One Funnel Away challenge, just go to onefunnelaway.com. Is the best thing.
Yes.
If you're wanting to do some reading and trying to understand how funnels work and what it means to become an expert and how to drive traffic, go to secretstrilogy.com and you can get all 3 books there.
Yes. Yeah. And then you see how the funnel works.
That's right.
You see the one-time offer, you'll learn all of that, right? I recommend you study it seriously. Like, I totally
agree.
That.
Totally agree with you.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's one thing to learn, but you see how what Russell does, what ClickFunnels does. I mean, you'll learn a lot just from paying attention and observing as well. One last question: what is the vision for ClickFunnels in the next 3 years?
Next 3 years, we will be expanding into the payments side of things.
Oh,
and a very large international expansion opportunity.
So going into other countries, right? What percentage of the customers are from US and Canada now?
So out of the United States itself is 60%, and 40% organically are throughout the rest of the world, including Canada and stuff.
Okay, so you want to expand that to have more international buyers, audience.
Yeah, and a lot of that really, the only thing that's holding us back right now is the payments. And so that's why payments will come this year.
Ooh.
And
is that the big news? Is the big news?
That's part of the things that are coming.
The secret out of the bag. Okay, awesome. Looking forward to it. Awesome, Dave. It's always been awesome to chat with you. I mean, time flies, right? But as I always say, I'm grateful actually for ClickFunnels, right? It has helped my business tremendously. So I'm always a fan, always a supporter. And can't wait to see where you guys will be in 2-3 years.
You'll have a ton of fun coming along with us. So it'll be a lot of fun together.
Thank you.